in August, the Real Housewives of Atlanta star Nene Leakes and talk show icon Wendy Williams finally ended their long-standing feud. And if you recall how rough things had gotten between them over the years, you'll understand why this is a pretty huge deal.
Like, why are we fighting? I'm 3 decades in the game.
It's Justin Diego back with another Bingeworthy video. And today, you'll need to stick around all the way till the end as we uncover the truth about Wendy and Nene's rekindled friendship. Yes, I'm digging up all the receipts that answer your burning questions about how this feud began, how bad the drama got, and what happens now that Nene Leakes is back on good terms with one of the most influential women in the game. If you haven't been living under a rock, you already know that Wendy has been living it up this hot girl summer, linking up with some of the most random celebs, all while keeping her name in the headlines. If you've been a fan of this pop culture icon, you know that she's been on a bit of a perp walk, righting her wrongs and building relationships with some of the very people she dogged out on her talk show. That's where Nene Leakes comes in. Wendy went on Watch What Happens Live a couple weeks ago, giving the first round of juicy details about how their feud actually came to an end.
Hi, Wendy. How did you and Nene Leakes rekindle your relationship after years of sort of going through a rough patch and kind of being shady and throwing shots at each other?
I'm doing my perp walk right now because now I'm going through a divorce and rebuilding my life. And Nene was one of the people I wanted to speak with. Like, why are we fighting? Like, right. I'm 3 decades in the game. I called her up. I was like, look, I don't know what your problem is with me or me with you, but where are you now? Let's have dinner or whatever.
Yes, fans of the show are definitely rooting for this link up, and Nene Leakes is clearly very happy to be back in Wendy's good graces, taking to social media, giving Wendy tons of love. Now, I just want to know, are you guys happy to see these two back together, or are you feeling like they're doing this all for show? Speaking of all for show, these two just made headlines when Nene Leakes sat on the purple couch for the first time in over 5 years. And the interview was honestly so iconic.
After one phone call from me and some grown woman talk, we're back together and she's here to spill the tea. Welcome my friend, Nene Leakes.
Look, what you doing?
Talking to you. I'm not nervous.
You're not?
No, I feel like they're not even here.
I loved the energy between the two of them, but I definitely expected them to be real quick and easy. I did not expect them to get into all the tea, but Nene came really open-minded, so they definitely got into some things.
So here's what I feel what happened between us, and you guys, you saw this. When we first met Nene, she was like our big mouth friend who would just say it like she meant it. And then all of a sudden, the paychecks got bigger, and I feel that the fame got in the way of her remembering who we liked her for. And then you started acting like a real jerk on the show, and we talk about this, don't actually.
I have never felt so heard before. I feel the exact same way that Wendy does, and I get a lot of heat for it. It isn't that I do not love Nene Leakes. Nene is so iconic to me. If you watch my channel over the years, y'all know, she's always a mood, but I just can't stand how nasty she's gotten and how much she's become this villain on the show. And I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one.
We missed the girl that we knew. And then all of a sudden, you stuck with that character. So I was like, I'm done with Nene.
I was so shook that Wendy kept it all the way real and was actually happy that Nene didn't get offended. She was such a good sport, and she even got a chance to give her own version of how they fell out from her own perspective.
That's her version, okay? Y'all want to hear mine?
Go ahead.
So, you know how Wendy does her hot topics? Nene this, Nene.
I still have to talk about you.
And I was just like, well, dang, she is just really running my name in the dirt.
Yes, we all know that Nene can be so sensitive, and we definitely know that Wendy Williams can be so ruthless. It's not that hard to see how a fallout between these two was just bound to happen.
Then one day she was like, Nene in her Birkin. I was like, that's it.
Right,
That's
when
it.
you marked up the Birkin.
Yes, and that's
And then put
okay,
my
you know
name
what?
on it, calling me a bitch or something on it.
I did not.
Yes, you called me a man or something. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I did not.
Yes.
I listen, that is not
Yes,
on my
the hell
Birkin.
you did.
I promise to God.
I was dying laughing at how Nene know good and well she called this lady a whole man. And you gonna sit there in her face and act like you innocent?
No, you put Wendell.
I did not.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
That is not on my Birkin. I promise. That is not on my Birkin.
Yes, this interview was iconic. So you guys will definitely have to visit Wendy's channel on YouTube and watch the whole thing. I'll definitely be placing that link below in the description. Now, it's so obvious that they have two very different versions of what happened. And, you know, all I can say is I remember this happening, and I'm pretty sure that it all started over a Birkin bag.
Wendy Williams is becoming mean again.
Nene has this new Birkin bag, and she decided to get it customized with some of her sayings on it. That's her bag. She can do what she wants to do. That's the way I feel. Wendy saw the bag, and she's just furious about it.
What they're calling a $10,000 Birkin bag. She had an artist write all over it. Only Birkin bags are not $10,000. Hey, Nene. It's so funny how people move those prices up and down. You weren't even authentic with it. Let's move along.
Yes, Wendy Williams doubled down on her shade after she had already heard that Nene was pissed about what she already had to say the day before.
People always think I'm fighting with Nene. Nene, sometimes I think you get caught in your feelings, you know, if I say one thing about you, but I've done this for 30 years, even before I knew who you were. So this is what I do, and this is how I eat.
I really believe that this is when the two of them really fell out. Nene took to Twitter with a very shady statement referring to Wendy as Wendell, which was so petty. So it looks like Wendy may have gotten it a little bit confused. Wendy's thinking that Nene put it on her Birkin bag, but she didn't really put it on the Birkin bag. She tweeted it out and she made this statement. Now, Nene has since sold her website to Celeb Master, but here is what the original statement looked like when this website was NeneLeakesOfficial.com. Wendy, people think that I've done something to you. Maybe we had a beef or I slept with your man, but none of that is true. I actually only been nice to you, ! I gave you a beautiful black $3,200 Celine Phantom bag to celebrate your 500th show, but you haven't spoken of that! But what you have chosen to do is constantly speak negative of me and lie on me. What you need to do is stop spewing hate. When it comes to gossip, you are the lowest of the low. I know you hate because I turned down the chance to come on your talk show, and I am sure you're scared I will take your place. I know you've heard! Wink wink. Be scared in all caps. I know it must be hard for a black woman to support another black woman, but you should try it sometimes. P.S. Nene Leakes' Birkin bag is being turned into a work of art to raise money for a worthy charity, something you failed to mention on your show. I don't have one Birkin, I have 5. Now run and tell that wig. Yes, things got really messy, and apparently Nene Leakes actually shot herself in the foot with that read because allegedly, she was in development of her own daytime talk show that was slated to air weekdays after the Wendy Williams show. Now, allegedly, because the show was being produced by the same people who worked with Wendy, the powers that be consulted with Wendy before moving forward. Although Wendy had originally given Nene her blessings, it looks like she circled back and stopped Nene's whole bag. No pun intended. Giving the network the ultimatum saying it's either Nene or me.
You know, I do this.
That's why it's such a huge deal that these two have finally called a truce. Now, y'all already know that we have the same amount of hours in a day and we have access to the same headlines, but I've got a serious issue. I can't help myself, y'all. I stay coming up with these just ego theories when I peep game on somebody spilling the tea. I first noticed during Wendy's appearance on Watch What Happens Live that she had something to get off her chest.
I don't know what your problem is with me or me with you, but where are you now? Let's have dinner or whatever. And it was such an easy, I talked to Nene earlier today. Yes, I imagine Andy Cohen had given Wendy
a shady look when she shared with fans that she had conversation with Nene Leakes earlier that day.
And it was such an easy, I talked to Nene earlier today.
What were they talking about that warranted this type of reaction?
Such a good conversation.
And what did it have to do with Andy in the first place? Now, I already told y'all, I've got serious issues. I didn't have to wait long because during Nene's appearance on Wendy's show, Nene actually slipped up and almost spilled her tea, and Wendy just could not help herself.
Nene will text, I need your advice. I'm like, oh gosh. What? Gosh.
Y'all have to listen closely, and you have to keep an eye on Wendy's mood.
All right, you had a falling
But
out.
you gave me good advice though. When I told you I needed advice, you really did. You made me think after.
I discussed that with him.
Yeah.
Who is him? And what was there to discuss? Spill the tea, Wendy.
You did?
Yep.
When I hung up, I was just like, you know what? That was really good what Wendy said.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were good.
So you're going and everything's gonna be good.
I don't know.
And you're staying. Yes, you are. I'm gonna tell them what we talked about.
Don't you be telling them what we talked about.
Okay.
Dang, some things are a secret.
Okay, I was just testing you.
Yeah, I peeped that too, and it looks like it's possible that Nene is having some sort of issue with production or something related to Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I feel like she must have asked Wendy for advice about whether or not she should stay or leave the show. I mean, am I tripping?
So you're going and everything's gonna be good. And you're staying. Yes, you are.
Yeah, I feel like Wendy convinced Nene to stay on the show, and since Wendy kept it all the way real previously in that segment about Nene changing too much with the fame, I hope that Nene Leakes has actually taken all of Wendy's advice. Chime in below in the comments and let me know what you guys are thinking. Like, do you feel like I'm on to something, or do you feel like I need to sit down, calm down, and keep it moving? Thank you guys so much for watching this video all the way to the end. I'm glad to know that y'all are just as messy as I am, but he who is without shade casts the first stone, right? Thanks again so much for watching this video. I will see you guys on the next one.